Today on Farns' Free Time, I take the 3D printed parts I printed and build a NERF Blaster. Welcome back to Farns' Free Time, and if this is your first time into the channel, welcome, and don't forget to click that subscribe button down below so that way you can stay up to date on any of my future builds, 3D printing tricks, tips, and how-tos. So today I am especially excited because we are doing the channel's first full-length build, and I chose something that was just fun, ridiculous, and something that I could do with my kids, and I chose this guy right here. It is the Woozy. All right, the Woozy is a fully 3D printed battery operated blaster. It is a foam flinging nightmare, meaning that it shoots darts faster than you can imagine, as you saw in the intro, and you will see later in the video. And without further ado, let's flash back a couple days and get into this build. All right, here we are. All of the parts printed out nice and clean. I have begun a little assembly. As you can see here, there's a motor installed, and then there are two motors here. This is a motorized blaster, so it does require a lipo battery, which I also have and I will talk about later. The magazine is the only part of the blaster that is not printed out. And without further ado, let's get into the build. All right, the first part that we are going to get into is getting the motors all wired up. So I'm gonna break out the siren and get that started. All right, we have the first wire done up here, and we're moving on to the next part, which is the pusher. All right, here is the pusher assembly. The pusher assembly is what pushes the darts into the motors. So this was a printed part right here. This whole housing right here was a printed part. I have already installed the motor, and there are two screws that hold it in right there. This is actually just sitting on here, and the reason I'm telling you about this is because my first problem that I have encountered is this little hole right here. This little screw, this little tiny screw, won't fit in here, and I tried to drill it out, didn't work. It's still a little bit too big, so I'm going to resort to my methods that I know best besides 3D printing is metal work, and I'm going to hook it up to my lathe here in the background. It's just a little mini lathe, little hobby lathe, and I'm going to take a little bit off the head. So let's do that, and I'll rig up the camera so you can see what I'm doing. All right, I got it all cleaned up. You can see that it's shiny. It's gonna be kind of hard to see on this camera here, right? And it fits perfectly into this little hole. What am I doing here? There we go. It fits into this little hole right here. As you can see, I popped it in there. Pops right out. So now I can screw it in and move on to the next part. Let's do it. All right, so now you can see it's all put together. Now we're gonna look at the inside components so you can kind of get an idea how it works. So this little gear goes around, and it would be going much faster. And as it goes around, it'll come back over, it'll come through, and it'll push the dart out. All right, fairly simple. Well, simple in theory. All right, and then this cover will go on here, just like that. First part of the cage done, pusher's done. Now we're starting to put the housing together because the next part I got to start wiring this up. So shooting two screws in there to assemble the first outer shell. Now that we've assembled a few things, we're gonna start to speed up the process a little bit so that way we can speed up the build, of course, because you just wanna see me build something cool and get to the good part, the testing. quick update here. So I have everything pretty much wired up, or motors are wired up, flywheels are installed, switches are wired up, trigger with return spring is wired up. You can see that that cage is secured down as well. And we'll do a quick little function test right here. Hear that switch? That means we're good to go. I'm gonna start working my way back, installing the pusher motor, and then we'll be close to a functional check. All right, I'm excited to say that we are done. I have a battery in my hand with the voltage alarm on it as well. All right, we are going to run a test now. Let's do that. All right, we have everything hooked up, so let's do a quick little test. Looks like everything's working. All right, now that we know everything is working, let's cue the dramatic music and let's take it outside for a test fire. We're back from the test fire. Everything looked good. Everything was awesome. So we're gonna start buttoning up and putting it all together. Before we assemble everything up here, all right, I want to talk about the other side real quick. I assembled it off camera. Took 2 little screws to assemble the 2 shells together. There is a latch right here for the magazine, and then 2 linkage arms, which are also 3D printed. There's 2 springs in this system. Right, basically you put the magazine in, you push up on the lever, and the lever releases the magazine. Right, so look, I'll push on that lever right now, just so it doesn't pop out here. You can see that pushes it back. Again, so it doesn't pop out, I gotta hold my finger here. Right, and then as you push that lever, magazine drops free. All right, let's get her buttoned up. Blaster is all assembled, put together. All we need to do is do a few functional checks. The first functional check is going to be magazine release. Make sure that it is working. So we're going to go ahead and put that in. Slides in nice, holds nice. Go ahead, hit that mag release. Pops out just as clean. So we are going to get the battery installed and take it out and do some tests. Blaster's all assembled, and I could not be happier with the way it turned out. It looks awesome, it feels awesome. So let's cue some more dramatic music, let's take it outside, and let's do some tests. So just so you guys see, I'm trying to hit a GoPro as you saw in that last shot. But if we go all the way over here, you can see how far those darts went. There's just like a trail of darts here. You see them all poking out of my grass here. I mean, that's pretty far if you see where I was. Here's like the last one right here. And then look at that. I mean, I was way over there on the other side of the lawn. Definitely not made for accuracy though. As you can see, the Woozy does not disappoint. It is a complete blast to shoot, and anyone that shoots it just has a grin on their face from ear to ear, including my son, which made this a very rewarding project to undertake. Not only in that sense, but also it was challenging to put together, print everything and put it together. Made me learn a lot about not only my printers, but getting all of the mechanics to mesh and operate the way they do. So you will probably see some more NERF blasters in the future on the channel, and I will also probably try and push the boundaries of those as well. I will also be building some armors, including helmets and body armors for not only myself, but my son. So look forward to those as well. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that way you can stay up to date on any content that comes out, and to like this video. And if you want to take your support one step further, you can always go into the video description and click on the link Buy Me a Coffee, which will take you to where you can buy me a coffee. Those funds go to not only helping fund some of the builds on the channel, but also keeping me caffeinated enough to keep it going. All right, so with that said, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, and I will see you guys next time.